past, present, and future subscribers, welcome to Quantum Christianity. Um, I have done this video now 4 times, so I'm hoping this last one is the winner, chicken dinner. Every time I kept clicking over to share my screen, you could see the screen, but all the audio got cut off. So I think I got that figured out, so we're going to start from scratch. If you're looking at what in the Lord's name almighty I have behind me, I'm going to stand here actually, this way you can see it best. This is what I call my life's work, I guess you'd say, from this point going forward. It's my blueprint or mapping wall of information, all things quantum level. So it looks like just kind of a mess of a bunch of things. But eventually we're going to use the wall, maybe about a month or two, so we can start kind of teaching from just connecting any 3 random things. And 3 just because 3 is a cool number and the Trinity and all that stuff. So anyway, what we're here to talk about today, and I'm looking down at the bottom the whole time. I'm sorry. I will get used to it. So what we're going to do today and for the next 7 days is we're going to go through my book that I published on March 24th, which was my birthday, 30 days plus ago. And each chapter we'll go into, I'll just kind of give a brief description, maybe read a snippet, and then I'll go into, a teaching per se, and I'll share my screen with you. We'll go through some memes, some graphs, things like that, so we can just kind of dive deeper into each chapter. And then we'll just kind of see where it goes from there. So what I'd like to do first is I'm going to get my book, I'm going to open that up, and I'm just going to read 2 definitions from there. One's from the Webster Dictionary, one's from the Oxford Dictionary, of what consciousness is just from a literal standpoint. And then we'll kind of dive in and see what that means on a spiritual level. So let me grab a bill. Move my hair okay. Oops, wrong side. So for those of you who don't know, this is most times this is my first or second video now for Quantum Christianity, where I'm using a desktop. So this is all new for me as far as sharing a screen and all of that. In my other but in my business, in my construction business that I own, Carolina Custom Color, you can go check it out, carolinacustomcolor.com. And then on my Facebook page, I always do Facebook Live. I do probably about 2 a week, just, beginning, middle, and end of certain projects that we're doing. So I'm constantly doing Facebook Live. So I do have a following from that, because apparently I'm a beautiful disaster on the screen. So hopefully you'll get some entertainment value from my nonsense and some enlightenment from my wisdom. So here we go. Here's the book. Available on Amazon. All right, so let's get to my definition. So Webster Dictionary says this, that consciousness is the awareness or perception of an inward psychological or spiritual fact, intuitively perceived knowledge of something in one's inner self-awareness of an external object. That is Webster. Oxford says this. The Oxford Living Dictionary defines consciousness as the state of being aware of and responsive to one's surrounding, a person's awareness or perception of something or the fact of awareness by the mind itself and the world. So that's the definition of consciousness. And if you read in the book too, I have tons of scripture from the Bible. And in the back too, I've got a whole Bible commentary section on the back. So you'll see how the word conscience is actually in the Bible many times. So it is a biblical term. And what else was I going to say? Oh, so before I flip my screen, I have a graphic that I'm going to show, and I don't remember how I came about it, but I'm glad that I did, and I'm here to share it with you because I find it very important. Now, as a Christian, if this is kind of your first time diving into or taking the blinders off, that's what I should say, take the blinders off, and you're like, holy shit, yikes, there's all this other stuff going on. Just breathe it through and just take it in. All right. So, solo off. What? Oh gosh. Is that saying that it's on or no? Show and screen. Is that working? Oh my God, I swear to God, if this doesn't work. Start video. Solo on. There we go. All right, so I think I've got it going on here. So let's do this. Can I make this bigger? Nope. All right. I don't know if you can see all that, but if you want to shoot me an email, I can send you this in your mailbox so you can kind of pull it up on your computer and study in a little more detail. So anyway, so here is the matrix of the 12 domains of the universe, and some people also use the word dimensions. So we've got 12 known or proven dimensions in the matrix, which is another term for reality. Whatever the word reality is, or the word what is real, what's not real, whatever. The philosophical aspects of it we're not here to discuss. However, we will in another series. And for today, we're just talking about consciousness, where we are now, where we are going, and how it relates to the quantum levels of the metaphysical aspects of reality, and then the celestial aspects of reality. Celestial is just another word for spiritual. Okay, so at the top, it says the universe, and it's important that we all understand and remember that there is only one ultimate God or creator source, right? And we all come from that. So another term for that might be the singularity, or the moment of Big Bang. Whatever you want to call it, it all means the same thing. It all mathematically comes down to the same equation, which we have not yet figured out as a species. But we have a singularity, the one. It has no dimension. And someone would say maybe it has no dimension, or that it's in all of dimensions at all the time. So again, that goes kind of going to the polarities or the duality of that concept of being in no dimension. It cannot be measured, therefore it does not exist, and it is unmanifest. So the opposite of unmanifest would be manifest. And I'm going to put my beautiful face back on here again. Hold on a second. Here we go. Solo on. So it's important to when we think about the anything anti or non, or that's the oxymoron of, or the opposite of, the mirror image of. When I see that, I think about Christ and Antichrist being the mirror image of who Christ is. Now, Christ is a lot of things, so he's got this whole tale of possibility and information behind him, as does the opposite, Antichrist, behind him. That spirit, that consciousness, right? All right, so let me share. How do I share the screen? How do I do it? Solo on, solo off. I'll just go back and forth. Okay, so here we go. So we're back at it. So, and then it continues to say, so the unmanifest. So that he's the all and the nothing, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. So this is that concept that we hear about in the Bible. It must be divided into two, becoming duality, or to become manifest, to be able to evolve or create. So again, if you think about Genesis, you're going into Genesis, and it said God just was, and then he separated the darkness from the light. that had nothing to do with the sun and the moon or the night and day. Darkness and light had to do with separating the knowing from the unknowing, what you can see from what you cannot see, what the wisdom or the ignorance. That is what that's talking about. So duality can also be called polarity. So duality and polarity are ideally are the same thing. They're ideally the same thing, except one's metaphysical, one's celestial. So duality is going to be the zero, the spirit, the host, the essence, the soul of what that being is or who that being is, right? The fractal or the piece of God that person or that individual soul represents. So you have the zero, and then you have the one, which is the metaphysical, which are the things that we are able to interpret with our five senses. So we have, we can see, we can smell, we can taste, we can feel, we can touch. Well, I already said that, feel, touch, whatever. You know what the five senses are. But anyway, those five senses are what we experience in this three-dimensional world of height, width, and depth. So you got the one and the zero, and the one and the zero is important because it's everything. Because in quantum, we use binary. Binaries is everything's in ones and zeros, and this is how, and the only way that we are able to communicate across all aspects of reality without language. So let's go back to my chart. All right, so underneath that we have the supreme deity, the totality, or the singularity, right? So it's the same, gosh, beautiful. It's the same concept. You have the universe and you have God, or you have God and the universe are the same. You have the source and the creator, and you have the creator and the source are the same. So the totality would be the same as the singularity. It's that omega point, that one, that thing that always was, will be, and is God / the universe. And so in this particular graph, it talks about the hologram, which is fragmented into I don't know what that says, but separated beings, which in a unique yet individual piece of the whole. So again, what that's saying, let me go back here because this is so important for us to understand. Okay, so what that's saying is that there's this God, right? And he's everything and nothing at the same time. He's the singularity and the totality at the same time. And I only say he because it's, you know, we're so used to saying that God is a he. So for the sake of continuity and just whatever, I say he. Yes, I know that it could be a he, she, or non-gender or whatever, but we're going to go with he. So anyway, so he is all that was, that is, and will be. He's the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, all that fun jazz. It's always biblical in the same way that the ancients in Buddhism and Hinduism and the Mayans, it's all the same information. It's just in different time space. So let me go back. So important. Fragmented. So what this is saying is that God, who is light, right? He literally is all light that ever was and will be. And he had a thought, and it exploded, and we all became parts of who he is. And so here we are on Earth experiencing life in the 3D for the glory of God. So let's go down to the bottom where we can see, I wonder if I can do this. Yeah, that works. Oh, cool. Look. All right. So I learned something new. Sorry. So I'm going to just read this with you guys real fast because I just realized that when I was zooming in, I was only for myself and not for you guys. So, so the universe has a singularity, and we're right up here. The singularity, the one that has no dimension. It cannot be measured, therefore does not exist. It is the unmanifest. It is also the manifest down here. It must be divided into two, right? Becoming a duality or polarity, to become manifest and to create. So it goes from unmanifest to manifest, from 1 to 2. The primal two are the poles or the nodes which emanate a positive and a negative current. So this is talking about energy here. It's not talking about bad, good and bad, or good and evil, or dark and light. It's talking about charge on a battery, and both are necessary for them to create energy. So when you're looking at this, this is strictly science. This has nothing to do with the spirit. God is a supreme identity, the totality, the hologram, which has fragmented into Holland beings, Houghton, I can't read what that says, and it's not a word that I've ever used before, so I'm not sure. But anyway, I would say fractals, because that's the smallest form of light. So personally, I would say fractal beings, which are yet individual pieces of the whole. So we are all a part of God, right? God is in us. We believe that, we know that, especially if we're Christians. If we're atheists, I'm here for you too. Please watch me, because I'm going to get into the science so hard. I'm going to blow your mind. So let's move back over to here. So ethos is the bandwidth of pure non-dual consciousness. So non-dual means that you've escaped, you've reconciled your polarities to become pure energy. Or the Hindus might say you have reconciled all your karma. As Christians, we would say we have been forgiven for our sins, or whatever the case may be. So, as for Jesus followers, we're lucky because that's kind of our get out of the jail free card, that he took that price for us. But the everything else before Jesus is still the same God. So the people before Jesus, they only had one way to get there, and it was a bunch of stuff they had to do. So let me move this, and I have a touch screen, so this is great. So here we are at the bottom, and you have your yin yang symbol. So again, you have dark and light. It is important to understand that dark and light does not mean good and evil. It means knowing and unknowing. It means wisdom or ignorance, vice versa, sorry. So when you see this, it is the perfect balance of darkness and light, of knowing and unknowing. And obviously this symbol is ancient, way before Jesus and his time. So that's where we start, and then you divide into two, just like a cell. A cell goes, you have your egg. Oop, let me go back real fast. Hold on. Solo on. Is that on? Cool. Okay, so this is so important. So here's my yin yang symbol right here, actually. And then I've got the nucleus and the protons and electrons and your cube and your sphere and all sorts of fun stuff, because ancient geometry is great. We'll be doing that too. I lost my train of thought. Okay, so you have duality, and cells as well at the micro level. So you have the microcosmos and the macrocosmos, the smallest form of subatomic level or particle, and then your largest form being the universe, and obviously within our cells, which we have to see under very expensive microscopes. So when we look at that, we have to see that all of that has possibility, an alpha and omega of possibility, right? So from as far as the east is from the west, Christians, there's this possibility inside, and we're all going to land somewhere different, and it was meant to be that way. So let me go back, and we're going to go talk into 3D here for a second. Oops. Okay. So, oops. All right. Yeah. Oops, no. Gotta do it on here. Okay, so sorry, I'm still learning. So here you have your thing there. Then when you move over to this section, so you have your unity, your singularity, your neutrality, which is the same at the bottom as it is the top, because those two things, the beginning is really the end, and it's this infinity symbol, and it's not really a straight line, and all that fun jazz. But anyway, let's get into here. So here we are in 3D world. This is where we live right now in the lower kingdom. So we know that we have evil on this planet, and we know that that heaven does not have that. Be careful what I say there. So 3D world just means height, depth, width. That's all that means. So it's nothing magical about it. That's where we live. And it's split into two. Look at that, of course. And it's split into what I was saying before is your physical world and your etheric world. Etheric is just another term, this term right here, for spirituality or celestialness. So yeah, celestials. So it's the same. It's all spirits. It's all that thing that we can't see with our eyes. We can't touch. The other senses after 5. So some people might call it a sixth sense or your third eye or things like that. So this is how we experience the world. It's the only way we can experience the world. So it's kind of a double-edged sword in a sense that, the grass is always greener. We're here on earth and we're like, oh, we can't wait to, be angels and spirits and not have this dense body. And, and then when we get up there, then we're bored and we want to come back down to earth because we're bored. And we can't feel, we can't touch. If you haven't watched the movie Soul on Disney, please watch it. It is the best movie ever. And it is like so true on so many levels. So watch it, please. And then after that, watch Inside Out. And that is reality right there, those 2 movies. So get your kids on those. So anyway, so this is where we are now. So where we're trying to get to here is number 5, or the 5th dimension, you might hear. The age of Aquarius. The golden age, whatever you want to call it. This is where we're trying to get to as a collective humanity, as a collective universe. Well, actually, they're already there. We're last on the totem pole. But just to get to a point where we understand that all is God and all is necessary. It's not always going to be the mountaintop. It might be the valley. And God is the God of the hills and the valleys. Holla to what's his name? Love him. I know you know who it is. I wish I had my chat up so I can see if someone tells. Tauren Wells. Love me some Tauren Wells. Okay. So anyway, we're trying to get to 5. And this is a mental or mentalism where we literally, so metaphysically, connect the left and the right hemispheres of our brains together. Hold on, I got to talk to you guys while I'm doing this. Here we go. Solo off. Okay, so literally it is the connecting of the right and the left hemispheres of your brain in order for them to work together and not against each other. And that's where you gain enlightenment and ascension, your third eye, and kind of those fireworks go off in your brain and you're like, holy crap, it all makes sense now. So so that's kind of what I was talking about with 5D, where it talks about mentalism. So mentalism is Hermeticism. So what is Hermeticism? If you remember Hermes, he is an ancient philosopher, thousands of years before Jesus, had these concepts of the universe, not only before Jesus, but before Einstein and anybody else who has currently contributed to modern day science. So Hermes, his first law is all is mind, mentalism. And so when we understand that concept, which we only will understand that concept if we understand quantum physics, we don't have to be geniuses in them, but we have to have a firm grasp of understanding that time space is an illusion and things are not linear. And once we understand that, then we kind of will be able to kind of rest in knowing the truth of the cosmos, macro and micro, and we can just like get those energies chilling, our frequencies chilling, we're vibrating, we're harmonizing, all those fun stuff. So let's go back to my screen. So here we are. We want to get to mental, Christ, Buddha. So Christ and Buddha are best buddies, and I say Christ consciousness is the energy, and the Buddhic energy. Those energies are the same. They are the consciousness, the collective consciousness of those people who understand the Christ concept and the Buddha concept. And so that says our thoughts create. Man, I'll tell you. Oh, and this is great here. So this says the veil. So biblically, if you think of the veil, we talk about the veil being torn, and that he's put a veil over our eyes. We understand that we are at a time right now where things are being hidden from us. We were told that. And there would be a time where there would be an unveiling. And that only means that there will be a time where we will know, we'll be shown the truth. And so the veil is so important, and it's across cultures, across religions, across time space, that, you know, and also the term revelation, those two things go hand in hand, because the definition of revelation is the unveiling of. So they're literally the same thing. And so, you know, people talk about how we're in the time of revelation. Yes, we most definitely are. And yes, there is going to be and has been unveiling of this truth. And you know, we're living in these times where the rise of consciousness of humanity is being able to connect into that Trinity, that body, mind, and soul, energy, frequency, vibration, and being able to balance between the mind and the heart, logic and love, faith and facts. That is my mission. So we'll go back over here one more second. All right, so here we are. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but you've got the soul lotus here. This is your like seventh heaven here that people talk about, your levels of heaven. Seventh heaven, your soul, or your I am presence. If you get into my book on the first couple pages, I have I guess like a welcome auto, you know, glimpse into who I am. And so I actually wrote who I am as far as my I am presence, because when you get into your I am presence, you understand that you hold the Christ consciousness just as much as Jesus did. And the fear goes away, and you're able to rest in that truth, but also take action. And so it's a great place to be, but that's where that comes from. And then a second, oops, that's not where I want to do it. Oh, all right. And then up here, so this is cool too. This says the void outside the universe. And it's funny because this is in the movie Soul as well. And I was just like, oh my God, like everything in that movie was like fact. So the void is going to be, oh man, the void can be a good or a bad thing. It's just a place where you're able to completely zone out, you know, get beyond the self and just focus and be pure energy and just think about what it is that you want to manifest. And you know, then that's you're at a 12D. You're clear light, nirvana, you know, pure consciousness, and all those things. And I talk about that in the book, and I can tell you with confidence that I've experienced that. And there's the best way to describe it is the song I Can Only Imagine. Listen to that song, and that's what I felt at the same time. Anyway, so you have your black hole. Where's the soul, the Nursery of Souls? Hold on a second, because that one was really cool. Because they have a Nursery of Soul in the movie Soul. So I'm like, oh my gosh, look, it's the same thing. Anyway, so there's all this fun stuff on here. And I can, how do I go back? I can email you, guys that chart, that graphic, if you'd like, just to study it a little bit more or whatever. So please feel free to do that. You can email Quantum Christian Church at protonmail.com. At the end of the video, hit the subscribe button. This way you can watch and be alerted for when I do videos. I'm literally just kind of letting everything go and focusing on this ministry right now. So I should be on here every day, if not every other day, just sharing with you all the downloads that I get from God. So that's it. I'm gonna wrap that one up. That was good. A solid 30 minutes. Rock on. Wrap it up. Thank you, y'all. And next time, Quantum Christianity.